Okay, guys, today we will take a look at a post-COVID economic scenario. See, we are regularly hearing some scary projections that the world economy is going to tatters, it is going to dogs after COVID. But then what is the reality? See, there is no such thing as the whole world, economy of all countries of the world, collapsing at the same time. I would give you something which is absolutely realistic. You would understand the realistic touch of this projection as we discuss, because there is something which goes all across this presentation, that is common sense, which is probably one of the rarest sense, unfortunately, in this world. We'll check out the slides, please. Okay. See, the economies could recover in one of these shapes. The first shape is V. That is a quick decline and a quick uprising back to the original levels. Quick retrieval. Now, this can happen in some countries. See what happened in China. You thought its economy would collapse, but then it declined rapidly and it went up rapidly. So all those countries were earlier victims of COVID, or in the sense, the first in, first out, FIFO countries, first in, first out countries, FIFO. These countries got COVID affliction earlier, serious affliction and large-scale affliction earlier, and recovery earlier. Their economies would decline and revive quickly. I'll tell you why. Decline, I don't have to explain. You can imagine how it would decline. The revival is because when most of their economies have not revived, when a country's economy revives first, or this country is first in, first out, what happens is it has the whole world as a market. See, I agree with the prediction that when the rest of the world is not okay, the global markets are not highly demand oriented because the other countries are not actually revived. But please note, when a country caters to a global demand of anything, even when the rest of the world is under severe economic recession, the global demand is absolutely massive for any one country to cater. So a marginal demand across the world is huge for the country which recovered early, or the FIFO country, first in, first out. So these countries would have a V in their post-COVID scenario. They would decline rapidly and they would get back in shape rapidly. Next slide, please. See the countries who are in the middle order, those who got COVID later than the early countries but not too late. These countries would have a U-shaped recovery. A relatively sharp U, in the sense, for some time, they would continue in the recessionary state. U means after decline, the country continues for some time in the recessionary state. That is what the bottom of the U indicates. And then it would slowly recover. Now, many of these countries in the world which are not severely hit and which come out not too early but not too late would have a U shape for their economic revival. Next one, please. These are countries which are actually last in, last out. These are the countries which are afflicted severely by COVID in the latter phase compared to the rest of the nations. So their economic revival would be severely hurt because the rest of the nations have already come back in shape and they are in production, and they would capture the world market. So the revival of those last in, last out countries, LILO, Lilo, would be very slow, a flat U. Next. Now these are some of the countries, early birds, who show a tick pattern, means they would decline rapidly, but their revival would be to a position which of advantage, much bigger economies than before. Most probably the China's economic scenario would be something like this, unless the rest of the world boycotts Chinese products and services, which is a quite likely scenario. So the tick pattern is for early birds who come out early from this COVID recession. Next slide, please. And some of the very last countries may not recover in any time soon. They would follow an L pattern. Their economies would decline and continue in that state for a long time. These are probably the countries who come out of this very last. So for them, the economic scenario is rather gloomy and dark. Next slide, please. And then there is this chance. The global economy will go through a W kind of recession. Means it will dip to a low level, and because of the accumulated demand during COVID, it will show a sudden revival, but then the things are not properly in place, so they would go through the second wave of depression. Because please note, the demand is just fulfilling a backdrop or a backlog of demand. During the COVID phase, whatever was dried out, whatever supplies which were dried out, the world of nations would rather supply for some time, and it would show artificial revival, and then another decline, and then another revival. Okay, this would be the scene with reference to nations. Now coming to sector by sector analysis. See, the criticals, vitals, and essential sector. Those are products which are vitally, critically, and essentially required. Would probably follow a V pattern, because as soon as the COVID scare declines, the demand has to obviously naturally zoom back to the original level. So V pattern for vitals, essentials, and criticals like medicines, some of the essential goods. And for other needs, they are needed but not essential. It would be a flat U. It would take some time for the demand to revive, because people would decide it's better to postpone that. It's better not to buy that particular thing. For example, cars, automobiles may show a trend, a flat U. It will take some time for revival. And then for luxuries, the scenario is rather gloomy. It will be a long flat U, or sometimes it could even be an L for maybe a decade or more. So to recall, those countries which recover first from COVID would show a V pattern of recovery. Those who recover late would show a sharp U or a flat U pattern. And those countries which come out last would probably be in the L pattern for quite some time. And the global economy as a whole may follow a W pattern, because immediately after COVID, they would cater to the backlog of demand, and there would be a sharp revival followed by another dip, because the revival is not real. It is it's just catering to the old demand. There is no new demand. So dip again and then rise again. Okay, and for critical, vital, essential goods, it is going to be a V pattern of revival. For needs, a U, and for luxuries, very gloomy scene, a flat U or an L. Thank you very much.